Hi, welcome back to part 11 of PHP RSS feeds. And now we're ready to go ahead and start taking a look at our actual web page. Now, if you've been following along and you've been doing like I have, you've got a feed test database or a feed database. You've got your testing script, you have a cron script, and I've got my feed tester right here, and it's tied into my database form, which is tied into my populating script, and then brings me right back here. So I'm keeping this open in a local window, this cron, and I'm also checking my database from time to time. I've got 20 feeds in there. I've got 300 stories, 303, and it hasn't changed since the last I checked. You want to get this populated so that when we do have this page together, you'll have something to put in there. So now let's get back to the page here. This is what it looks like when you've downloaded it and you've put it into either your XAMPP file or you've put it up on your website. Whatever folder you're going to be working with, it should be in this folder, and when you open it up it should look like this. I'm going to show you a completed one without advertising on it that I've done for a customer who handles pet news. Now you'll see in this case I've taken all of those tabs out. You may or may not want to take the tabs out, these right here. If you want these tabs for a reason, leave them in. It wouldn't hurt you to leave them in for right now, but in this case I took them out because we weren't tabbing around to anything. This is what your front page is going to look like when we get done, and then you'll add other items to that. Perhaps you'll make this list a little longer or shorter. These are, I think it's the last 20 or 25 stories that came through. And then over here on the right is the list of feeds that this person is using, because these feed lists automatically populate from the title or the name of the feed. So when we go back over here, you'll see that the column widths are about the same. Yeah, they're exactly the same. I haven't changed anything in the column lengths. I haven't removed this, so you can put links in here. Here there's just a link to their main website. Go back here. Let's see. The center, we're just going to carve that out, and we're going to take this whole top right here and we're going to put it in its own separate file. And we're going to take this whole right side here, we're going to put it in its own separate file. We're going to take this left side, put it in its own separate file, and we're going to take this footer and we're going to put it in its own separate file. So now let's go ahead and go into our notepad, and the first thing we're going to want to do is you're going to want to open this index.htm, which is page 1 of the Holy Grail layout. And then you're going to go in Notepad++, you're going to go File, Save As. Let's save it as Headlines PHP. There we go. Now we have Headlines PHP. So now we're going to go ahead and start tearing it up. I'm going to show you the Headlines PHP for that website I just showed you. And you'll see that there's a lot of code in here. And of course, a lot of that is that filler fluff stuff that he's got in there. But there's not very much code in here. You'll see just basically there's a couple of include scripts that are going to help you pull the data that you need. And I'm going to show you those in a second. But as you scroll down, you'll see that I have taken almost all of the code out of here. And you can see include footer.php. So anywhere that you put this footer, if you use this template of a page afterwards, it's always going to show up, and you don't have to change it on every page. You just change it in one place and it changes throughout the site. And I've got the same going on with the header. And then you'll see on the first column, I have some layout that's coming from the PHP files up top, the scripts for column 1. And then column 2, which is the left column, you can see I've got include left column PHP and then include right PHP. So let me show you the left column real quick. The left column is a script. Form action result method get, search entire news database, input FID text, 36 maximum length, blah blah. This is my search box right here. And then underneath it says or select one of, and then PHP echo feed num, which is coming out of this functions script, functions PHP. I'll show you in a minute. News feeds. And this little tiny bit of script right here handles this entire left side. So let's go back over here and let's take a look at right. Now, this tiny bit of code right here is just a refresh. You can see that I have a refresh there because the stories over here on the right are constantly changing. The most recent story is going to be at the top, and then it goes down the line, just like Twitter or Facebook or anything. It's a timeline over here of stories. So we go back over here, and I just have a headline, H2, recent stories from all feeds. These are the latest stories added to the database, blah, blah, blah. And then I've got PHP echo latest. And that's coming out of this function file. So you can see where this huge file here that's got all this code in it has been broken down to several smaller files. And then you have the center of the page. So let's go back over here one more time, and I'll explain that to you. Center of the page is driven by, let's see, this column, and I've got HTML and HTML2 and HTML3. Now I could just have one, except that I wanted to break these down into 3 different areas so I could space them out and put ads between them. So now let's look at the functions PHP. This is most of the PHP that's going to run the entire display side of the website. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to include the connection script. This script here is reading pretty much current, not past. It's reading current. And these are those 3 things on the center page: HTML, HTML2, and HTML3. And let me show you how these increment. This one starts at record 0, and in PHP the first record is always 0, and then this only increments 2, and it's going to display 2 records here. And then this is pretty much just a copy of this with different name conventions in it. And this starts at record 2 and goes to record 5. And that allows me to put between these 2 places right here in headlines, between here I can put AdSense code or any kind of ad or anything I want to, or nothing at all. Alright, and let's go back over here to functions. So that's grabbing these directly from the channel, but I need to change that up and have that grab it from the database and not the channel. We can do a whole lot more fun stuff if we grab it from the database. This is going to be the left-hand column right here where the search box is. This is going to have you so you can navigate around amongst the feeds. And then this one on the bottom, which is latest, this is actually the select from CL feeds order, and that's not CL feeds in our case. I've taken out the CL. By log time, description, or descending. Okay, so let me go through this. Select everything from feeds, order by log time, and log time was the time that they were put into the database by your scraping thing. Descending, and then limit of 30. So there's 30 stories on the right hand side. You can change that to 20 or 40 depending upon the length of your feed. And then it just runs a query and it spits out the results. And then we create a list down below by appending one after another of these 30. And then we do a line item, and then we just do an href pointing to the script, which is the detail PHP, and then we reference the ID number that we need that's going to be pulled up by the detail page. Now the detail page has a lot more coding in it, but it looks a lot like this one. So let's go back over here to Quality Pet World here, and I'll explain how this works. And this is going to take you to the detail page. And the detail page right here is going to show the detail of the story that is the story that they've clicked on. So in this case it's story number 907. If I go down here, it's going to be story number 900, and story number 900 is going to be in here, and we're going to put our Twitter and Facebook like buttons and stuff like that in there. And then I have where the news feed that you're pulling from, it's going to pull several records out of the database and display those records just below that. And then down here you have your footer. So this is getting long. We'll tear it all up in the next one, but I just really wanted to explain exactly what's going on with this and how we're going to be working it and tearing it up and all that. You can visit all of the videos in a row. I just made a playlist, and I'm going to run that playlist directly on PHP Rocks. That's PHPROX.com. If it's not the front page, there'll be a very prominent link to where it's at, and you'll be able to get right to it from a link down in the description. And that will show everything in direct order and everything pretty much on one page. So if there's any updated notes on each story, then they'll be in that as well. And thank you very much for watching this, and please thumbs up, comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.